What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and welcome to some more r/am I the butthole. If you want to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description below and along the timeline. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. And don't forget you can follow us on podcast too now, or join the channel by clicking YouTube membership below or heading on over to Patreon. And a huge thank you for everyone for just sticking with me through these tough times. My videos are a bit sporadic at the moment, you know, stuff with my father going on, so I'm doing my best, so thank you very, very much for sticking with me. And with that being said, let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for mocking my brother for getting rejected by his dream college that I got into because he keeps tormenting me over it? My brother Jake, 18 male, and I, 17 female, had the same dream college, H University. Also, in case you're confused by the ages, we're 1.5 years apart. But I skipped a grade, so we're in the same grade for nearly our entire life. Jake was way more passionate about H Uni than I was. He had several H merch clothing and kind of assumed he was going there. For example, in conversations he'd say things like, once I'm at H, or after I go to H my plan is. Basically, his life plan rested on him going to H. Jake and I got along pretty well. We'd sometimes give each other advice or study together. However, during college app season, he got super competitive once he realised I was also applying to H. He'd refuse to study together, look over each other's essays, and he'd constantly tell me to not even bother applying. Then, decisions came out and we opened them at the same time. I was accepted and he was rejected. Jake had a massive panic attack, and instead of celebrating my acceptance with my family, I sat in my room all day because Jake would get furious when he saw me. I once even caught him trying to unlock my laptop to decline my offer, since his friend DM'd me to warn me that he'd been talking about doing that. My parents obviously punished him for that, which made it so much worse. When my H sweatshirt came in, he screamed at me for showing off when I just put it in my closet. He told so many people that I got in because I was a girl and that H mixed the siblings up. Honestly, I felt bad for him because I would be crushed too if I were him. Every time I tried to get him to stop, it got worse, so I kept tolerating it. I thought it'd get better after the summer, once college actually started. It has not. Now it's really set in that he's going to a, good in my opinion, state school and not H. His anger largely compounded by the fact that he's going to the same college that used to condescend other students about aiming for. My classes start soon, so I've been setting up in our study, which I share with Jake. Both of our rooms are tiny, with no room to study in, so we share a study with 2 desks that face away from each other. Jake cleared out my whole desk and broke my lamp in the process. He says that I need to study in my room, so he can use the study without distractions for his classes. We've always both worn headphones, there's literally no distraction. He just doesn't want to see me taking classes at H. I'm so fucking done. I just want to be proud that I got into this college and actually learn shit without my brother screaming at me about it. Where I might be the arsehole. We got into an argument and I told him that of course he got rejected since H didn't take toddlers. I've also been wearing my H sweatshirt around the house constantly, which he gets angry about. He kept bothering me, so I superglued H rejection letters in the drawers of his desk, so he has to see them when he opens them. Ouch, you're doing well up to that point. You know, all the way through it seems like you tolerated it pretty well and you like put the H jumper in the closet and all that sort of stuff. So he was trying to help him out there. But at the end, like when you glued the rejection letters in the drawer, that was, you went into the revenge category. You went into petty revenge, maybe even pro revenge now. Let's say petty revenge. And that does make you slightly an arsehole in my opinion. But at the same time, I think he kind of did deserve it. He's been an absolute arsehole. Trying to actually reject it by going onto your laptop is, wow. He is an arsehole for doing so, but he's obviously acting out in a very extreme way here. And let's face it, you guys are practically grown-ups now, and it seems to be getting worse and worse, this situation. It seems to be getting you guys taking revenge on each other from one thing to another, so it's only going to escalate here. However, I did enjoy the revenge a little bit. But I'm going to go with an everyone sucks here in this situation. Now let's go to the comments below to see what we can find. Pluck VD Petflet says, I hope I got your name right. After reading what you did, everyone sucks here. This is escalating. Where are your parents in all this? For college bound kids, you both need to grow up. OP replies to this saying, yeah, valid, I was being a dick. My parents don't want to get involved and think we need to settle it between ourselves. If need be, they'll separate us to our rooms and talk to us. Mum to Jake, dad to me. Staying away from each other isn't really possible when you live in the same house though. Dad usually says things like, just tolerate it, your brother is hurting right now, but it will get better once, milestone in a few months from the talk. High on Catnip Brownie says, not the arsehole, your brother is hitting obsessive levels of jealousy, trying to decline your offer letter. What a horrible thing to even think of. He deserves the rejection letters in the drawers. Lol, that's hilarious. Even though it was a little mean, he did ask for it. At this point, your parents really need to step in and tell him to calm the fuck down already. You didn't do anything to affect his college acceptance. You don't deserve any jealousy, it's 100% not your fault, and he is having an unhinged level of aggression towards you over it. It's not okay. Chungus McGoodboy says, everyone sucks here. Your brother has been acting out in an extreme way. I think your parents need to get more involved in that respect. It sounds like you both still live at home. You sounded quite reasonable until the last paragraph. I get that he pushed you to this point, but gluing the rejection letters into the desk definitely solidified you as an asshole. Now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. Our next post is from Throw We Dilemma. Am I the arsehole for calling the cops when my boyfriend's sister left her children with me for a few days, which ended with her getting a felony charge? I'm pretty sure I'm the arsehole, and I did not think something this bad would happen. This happened about a year ago. Me and my boyfriend have been together for 5 years. His sister Claire has a 1-year-old baby, Alex. Claire is a single mum and sometimes drops her baby at our place when she has some errands to run. I will be honest here, I have no clue how to take care of a baby. I play with the baby, but other than that, my boyfriend usually takes care of Alex. My boyfriend's work is on site, so usually isn't home for 4 days and then comes home for 3 days. One day, Claire asked my boyfriend if she can drop Alex off for the day. Boyfriend was supposed to leave for work that evening. Since she had said that she would pick the baby up by the evening, he didn't mention that. Big mistake. He left around 5 PM. I was waiting for Claire and kept calling her. She picked up the phone around 8 PM and told me that she went to a place a few hours away with her friends. She told me to tell boyfriend to take care of Alex for the next 3 to 4 days. I told her that boyfriend already left for work. Then she just told me, then you take care of Alex, I will be back in 4 days. And then she hung up on me and switched off her phone. I freaked out hard. I cannot call boyfriend because he is unreachable on site. Neither of us have family in the state that we could have called. I called a few friends, but no one gave me anything helpful. The bag she gave Alex only had diapers left in it. The baby was crying her head off and I didn't even know what to feed her safely. I literally didn't know what else to do, so I called the police and told them what happened. They directed me to a social worker. While the social worker was helping me take care of the baby, the cops called the cops where she was to locate her. The cops found her high on marijuana and she had enough on her for them to classify it as possession and intention to sell. Edit, I don't think she actually sold anything. She probably just bought enough for her and her friends for the next few days. She didn't get any jail time, she had to do community service and pled guilty. Unfortunately, that also meant she got a felony conviction. This got her fired and she hasn't been able to hold a good job since. In my defense, I only wanted to come back because I didn't want anything to happen to Alex because I am not capable of taking care of her. I did not think she was doing anything that would get her arrested. In her defense, she has left Alex at our home plenty of times, so it's not unreasonable for her to think that I would have no problem taking care of Alex for a few days. Also, this was probably the first time she took a break for herself since Alex was born. My boyfriend was pissed in the beginning, but came around later. The parents also think I wasn't in the wrong. She obviously hates me and thinks I ruined her life because she wanted a break for a few days. This got brought up recently at a family dinner, which is why I ask, am I the asshole? So let me get this straight. Even if your brother was there, she turned up, dropped the baby off, disappears, and then phones and saying I'm not going to be back for a few days. With limited supplies that she gave you. She taking the piss. Well, she is taking the piss. Oh my word, you can't do that. You're not the arsehole in this situation. She is 100% an arsehole. That baby is her responsibility, not yours. You can't just drop a baby off willy-nilly and expect someone to look after it just like that. When you yourself admit that you have little to no experience with babies, and that's not your fault. You haven't got that experience yet, and you openly admit that, which is a great thing, and you seek help rather than trying to deal with it by yourself. So fair play to you for doing what you did. Wow. That girl needs a serious reality check. But let's go to the comments below to see what they say down there. Gabagool049 says, not the arsehole, only a few diapers for 3 to 4 days. Dropping off her baby without agreeing to a time frame and then going to get high with her friends. I don't think your boyfriend's sister is ready to be a mum. This is either a great wake up call for her or a sign that the baby should be elsewhere. Your intention was to ensure the baby was safe. That automatically makes you not the arsehole. OP replies to this saying, when she dropped the baby off, she really meant to pick her up in the evening, which is why the bag didn't have anything but diapers, and the bottle/food she packed was already empty. Going to another place for a few days was a spontaneous decision. And another reply to this comment says, but once you have a child, there's no room for spontaneous decisions. You can't have a child and just spontaneously decide to go on a 4-day trip. That's part of the responsibility that comes with a baby. Boston Strong CQB says, not the arsehole, out of the blue for 4 days. I would consider this close to child abandonment. Deadly Housefrau says, not the arsehole, that is horrifically irresponsible. She didn't let you know that she was leaving the kid there for days. She didn't have enough diapers or food. She didn't rush back when you asked her to. All wrong. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And this story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole of being acting like a trophy wife to piss people off? I'm hotter than my husband, so to speak, and he has a better personality than me. That has been pointed out since we started dating, but I won't deny the personality thing because I'm petty as fuck. Recently though, some friends of ours find it funny to call me a trophy wife. To put it simply, it's not funny and it pisses me off. I mean, if someone wants to live that lifestyle, it's fine, but it's not something I would like to hear about myself. This originally started off with a topic that my husband makes more than me and likes to buy me expensive gifts. Now yes, my husband makes significantly more than me and I still make a good living. He makes around 200k a year, I make around 90k. Now my husband does like to spend the money on me, but the feeling is mutual and I often spend money in less obvious areas, like a day trip. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. The trophy wife comments were often, and while others found it funny, I did not. Remember when I said I was petty as fuck? I decided to become a stereotypical trophy wife whenever we hung out with them. I would dress up in frilly or skin tight dresses and expensive jewellery. I always had my hair and makeup done. At one point I even tried some 60s hairstyles with the help of a friend. I wore high heel shoes and boots. If they came to our house, I'd be in one of those frilly aprons. I clung on to my husband and bragged about the gifts he gave me. I spoke in the most 60s housewife voice I could manage. Honestly, it was a fun experience, even without being petty. I'd like to do it again. They were annoyed and the friends who didn't make the comments found it hilarious. Obviously they asked me to stop and I replied with, once you stop your comments, and they did stop the comments. Not before calling me uptight and over dramatic, to which I replied the moral of this story is that they shouldn't dish what they can't take. Later I told my mum, who was a housewife, and she told me that I was disrespecting all housewives by doing that and I took it too far. I have stay-at-home mums and housewives as friends who found it being hilarious. I don't see being a trophy wife the same as being a housewife, but am I the arsehole? No, I agree with your last sentence there. I don't see being a stay-at-home mum is the same as being like a trophy, or a housewife is the same as being a trophy wife. I think there's a very clear difference there. And I don't think there's too much more to be said on that, but I just kind of enjoyed that story in general. But we're going to go down to the comments to see what we can find. Happy Days 395 says, not the arsehole, as trophy wives and housewives are not the same. However, I'm curious, before acting like a trophy wife, did you say it bothers you? OP replies to this saying, yes, I, my husband, and 2 of my best friends did too, but they always replied that it was just a joke. Thea the Geordie says, not the arsehole, and unless your husband's a lot older than you, calling you a trophy wife is just rude. I think it's funny. And Dofi says, we have no choice but to stan a queen. You are the arsehole, but you know it. If you're going to be an arsehole, you may as well be queen of the arseholes. OP replies to this is gold. My petty as fuck heart agrees. Now what do you guys think of the story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description. And our next story is from My Name is Sydney. Would I be the arsehole if I stopped feeding my partner's rabbit? Let me preface this by explaining I love animals. I have many and wish no ill will upon this poor rabbit. My fiance and I live together. She got a 3-year-old bunny that she's had before we started seeing each other.
Initially she did take care of him somewhat well, however for the last several months she hardly even looks at him. She doesn't refill his water, make sure he has plenty of hay to eat, and even neglected cleaning his cage, so badly that we actually had a severe fly issue because of the decomposing waste. Because I feel so bad for the poor thing, I've naturally been maintaining the bunny's needs. I feed it every day, refill its water, and even clean its cage. If I don't, I have to remind my fiancée to do so, because if I didn't, it would definitely be dead. A big part of me is frustrated and wants to just give up and let her learn what happens when you neglect an animal. I've talked to her several times about it, so much so that she gets defensive about it. If I remind her too much or word it wrong, she even gets pissed off if I so much as remind her to feed the bunny. If we bought the animal together and mutually agreed to care for it, I wouldn't care. However, she says all the time, he is her bunny and her responsibility. So would I be the arsehole if I stopped feeding / caring for the bunny? I don't want to neglect an animal, but I'm fed up. Edit, you all are right, I am the arsehole for not considering rehoming the bunny. I guess I never considered it because I was feeling spiteful, and that's pretty terrible. This will be a very difficult conversation to have with my fiancé. Thanks for your honest judgment of this situation. Hell, before that edit I was thinking the same thing, why aren't you just rehoming this bunny? If she can't look after it, then just, find it a better place to live, man. Do not just neglect this bunny to let it die a horrible death. That would be just a hugely insensitive and arsehole-ish thing to do, just to prove a point. And the conversation may be hard with your fiancé, but she's not stepping up to the plate right now. She's not taking responsibility for something she should be taking care of. So that's on her. And you need to remind her of that this is her causing, not yours. I'm glad you saw the light in the end, but let's go to the comments below, and you need to take into consideration, these are probably all going to be before the edit. So prepare for the arseholeness. JennaFarm89 says, you would be the arsehole. We don't let animals die to prove a point. That's a really shitty I told you so. She does sound like she'd probably neglect children though, so you should take the bunny and break up. Cadillac Blood says, you would be the arsehole. Don't make the animal suffer because of your quarrel with your fiancé. If you can't take care of the animal because you don't want to do it alone and your partner clearly doesn't care anymore, give the animal away to someone who will give the love it deserves. 2006 Bruin says, you would be the arsehole if you let the bunny die. It's a tough situation and I understand your frustration, but please figure out something other than letting the bunny starve. Damn it, Janet says, honestly you would be. Don't punish a defenseless bunny because of your fiancé doesn't have any sense of responsibility. She's the arsehole for not being a responsible pet owner, and really this could be an indication of how she would be with a kid if you ever had any. Everyone sucks here. In Turnaround says, everyone sucks here if you choose to do that. If you're there and you see an animal suffering, you do something about it. If you do not want to care for the bunny, I would give your fiancé an ultimatum. If they don't care for it going forward, you'll find an animal rescue organisation and give them the bunny because it is being neglected. Frankly, I'd question my future with someone who would neglect a living thing they're responsible for. Is this someone you see a future with? Please don't have kids with them. And now I turn this story to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for making a joke about my wife's intelligence? Throwaway. My wife has an extremely big heart and cares for everyone around her. She always tends to see the absolute best in people, which leads to people taking advantage of her. She's been robbed because of her optimistic outlook on life. My wife is the timid type, never the confrontational type, and not the sharpest tool in the shed. I have a very good friend whom I am referring to as Stan for anonymity purposes. Stan and I have been friends for a very long time, and he is an extremely intelligent man with a PhD and a professor at an esteemed university. When restrictions eased, Stan came to visit me. My wife is very interested in Stan's line of work. When I introduced Stan to my wife, she began to ask him questions all related to his career. He answered them politely, but it felt more like an impromptu interview than two friends catching up when my wife was around. I told my wife that her fascination with Stan's career could possibly be making him very uncomfortable. She apologised and promised not to ask questions and only to speak when spoken to. I invited Stan and his wife to a friendly dinner, and Stan's wife complimented my wife on her multilingualism, and my wife could not stop gushing about it when they left. She's very insecure in the presence of very intelligent people, and getting a compliment from an extremely intelligent person, especially a linguist, must have boosted her self-esteem. I politely asked her to stop talking about my friends, but she started rambling about how someone saying, "You sound like a native," is a very meaningful comment to her, considering a bunch of other factors. I made a harmless joke about why she's so surprised about someone complimenting her intelligence. It's because she's not that intelligent. Instead of laughing along, she got offended, and I tried to explain myself by saying that no normal person would keep talking about one compliment that a stranger gave to them. And I knew that she was obviously insecure, being in the presence of very intelligent people, and the compliment is acting as compensation. She's very upset with me, and I've tried to have an adult conversation with her, but she's not listened to me, so am I the arsehole? Edit, I don't think that my wife is an idiot. She plays multiple instruments, and that obviously takes some form of intelligence to do. That's why I'm so confused as to why she doesn't think it's a joke. I do tell her that she's smart. Edit 2, I get it, I'm an arsehole. Fuck off now. That ending, man. But yes, I can totally guess why everyone in the comments, which we haven't got to yet, is calling you an arsehole. You started this story off by saying your wife is not the sharpest tool in the shed. You tool. What the hell are you doing? And the section where it says she apologized and promised to not ask questions and only speak when spoken to. That is questioning behavior right there. I mean, what the fuck's going on? I'm not going to jump into any conclusions, but that sentence there, you know, it rings alarm bells to me. The fact that you belittled your wife through this whole story and then try to backtrack at the very end makes you the arsehole. But we're going to go straight down to the comments because I'm sure they're going to tell you a new one down there as well. Goalie's dad 1978 says, yeah, you're the arsehole. Your wife agreed to speak when spoken to. She's not allowed to talk about your friends. Is she allowed out of the kitchen? Lufiel says, and replies to this saying, this was one of the more upsetting comments to me too. That specific language gives me scary vibes about the whole thing. Of course the whole post is a big bad mess, but something about that especially rubbed me the wrong way. Wafer Thin BS says, yeah, you're the arsehole for several reasons. She was interested in your friend's work and wanted to know about it, then you embarrassed her to the point of saying she would only speak when spoken to. She was excited and happy about being given a compliment. I rave on sometimes if someone who in my eyes is better than me gives me a compliment. Makes it seem also that you don't give her compliments or that she's not used to them. And then the nail in the coffin, you literally said she's insecure, then you make fun of her. Of course she's upset, she was happy and then you tore her down. You're a massive arsehole. Soft Sunset 101 says, you're the arsehole 1000%. Are you kidding me? You know your wife is insecure about her intelligence and you basically validated that insecurity by confirming that yes, she actually isn't intelligent. You clearly have a lack of respect for your wife when you say things like, she isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and asking her not to speak to your friend unless spoken to. By the way, arsehole, being complimented by a linguist on your language skills is a big deal. If I were your wife and had spent countless hours on learning a language and got complimented by a language expert about my multilingualism, I would be thrilled too, and I would expect my husband to cheer me on and be happy for me, not try to put me down. So in conclusion, yes, you are an arsehole. So now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think about this arsehole? Do you want to call him an arsehole too? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description, and this one best go one way. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. You are truly appreciated. As I always say, you mean the absolute world to me. You keep me going, you keep my chin up, and you keep me walking tall. Thank you very much for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.